Hi Cancer, welcome to your week ahead Taroscope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. How was last week for you? Talk to me. Let me know in the comments. Tell me, how did last week play out for you? It was a little bit crazy. I had emails, phone calls, text messages galore about all kinds of craziness that was going on. So I am curious at this point how last week was for you. Before we start, remember these are general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody. That is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So my lunar brothers and sisters, if you are a continued subby, you know Raffi Love Shirt, and if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit the subscribe button. For your key to the week this week, you have the Hermit card. Okay, so laying low a bit this week, right? Maybe taking it back to the drawing board in some way. And what's really interesting about this is, obviously this week we've got a full moon, and that full moon is in the sign of Scorpio. The full moon in Scorpio for you is actually in your 5th house of pleasure, joy, romance, but it is Scorpio and it is a full moon, which means it comes with a layer of intensity and depth. And what this tells me, this might be you regrouping, right? You're pulling away from the crowd. You're maybe kind of, taking a bit of a backseat to kind of ask yourself, what do I feel? How do I feel it? And more importantly, what am I going to do with that knowledge? How am I going to navigate forward with all of this? The other thing with the Hermit card, if you've been with me long enough, or if you've taken my tarot course, which I'm going to talk about shortly, then you will know when the Hermit card shows up, the High Priestess, your intuition has a message for you. The reason that we can't hear the message is because our lives have become too chaotic or too loud. So this might be on an intuitive level, and yes, I'm totally biased because I have a Cancer moon, but to me, Cancer is the most psychic of the signs because it's the one that's able to truly intuit and communicate what it gets in terms of its intuitive faculty. Now, that being said, if you can't hear your intuition, my dear moonchild, what this means is you do need to step away. And in all of these different areas of life, you're being encouraged to take it back to basics and to really dig into how you actually feel about things right now. For your actions and options, you've got the Magician card. I love this, right? Especially with the Hermit card. So this is a double hit of mercurial energy. The Hermit is effectively the Magician matured, right? And so what this means is you are taking stock of your personal power this week, right? You're really starting to understand, okay, this is where I have power, this is where I have agency, and this is where I do not. This is what I'm able to do about it, and this is what I'm prepared to do about it. Because it is also your options card, the options that are available to you, you can see this week. It's like you have a clear line of sight to kind of say, okay, this is where everything can go, providing I do this. There is a lot of refocusing. There's a lot of rejigging going about this week. I feel like a lot of you are going to be sat at home with a pen and a pen and a pad and just absolutely tearing things to shreds, really getting into it. There's a lot of planning. There's a lot of real focus on your lifescape at the moment and where you want things to go. And even still, in amongst all of this, you've got the Magician card, right? Which means that you're still bossing it in some way, shape or form. Now, you've got the Four of Pentacles in your career and communications, right? Or communications and conversations. And what this tells me is a lot of your plans you're keeping close to your chest, right? A lot of what you're working on, you're keeping close to your chest. That is how it is meant to be right now, especially with this Hermit card that shows up here. It's your key to the week, which is very strong. This is a week to go to ground. It's a week to really dig into what you feel, what you desire, what you require, where you want to take that. This is a week to ruthlessly edit your life when it comes to your career, when it comes to your profession, when it comes to the trajectory of your life and where you want things to go. The Four of Pentacles is not about outward things. It's about, certainly in this position anyway, it's not about sort of demonstrating or sharing it with people. It's about getting really clear on it for yourself, which means you're keeping it close to your chest, just like the figure. Now, For those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, this is where you start to really grasp, especially with the magician, right? This is where you start to really grasp how to use the information, the knowledge, the wisdom that you are gaining or have now acquired and put it into practice in order to make money. But you're keeping your ideas and your goals and where you're going to take this very, very quiet at the moment. And that really is the way that it's meant to be. Remember that Hermit card. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, this is kind of like, not in a bad way, but it's like you're going through the motions, you're doing, and it's not like, oh, you're doing the bare minimum to scrape by. It's not that at all. You're doing what you need to do, but for once, you're also focusing on your own stuff as well. It's like, I'm doing the day job, I'm doing what I'm being asked to do, I'm making sure that this is all taken care of, but actually what I'm really focused on is my own thing. And there is nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, this is what all of the self-help gurus and all the coaches, the big coaches always say, like, yes, work your 8-hour day for somebody else, but make sure you dedicate at least an hour a day to your own thing, right? To whatever's going to get you out of that 9 to 5, should that be a desire of yours. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, I think this is you getting really clear, not just on the budget, but also I think this is you getting really clear this week on how you're, like, what the structure of your business is and where that needs to shift, change or adapt if it does, right? If it's fine and it's working for you and you think, you know what, don't break what... if it ain't broke, don't fix it, then that's also cool, right? For those of you that are retired and no longer working, I think for a lot of you, this is about brushing up a skill this week. Maybe not to go back to work per se, but there's something like, so I know for me personally, because obviously at periods of the year you'll see that I take personal one-to-one readings off of the shelf. It's so that I can focus on other things in the background, content planning and all kinds of stuff, right? Sometimes course refinement, sometimes course creation, all kinds of things. But however, when I come back to it, those first couple of readings, I always feel like a little bit sort of, I've got to get back into the flow of it. It's the same, like even when I go on holiday, right, and I'm not doing the weeklies or the monthlies, because I usually do them in batches so I can go on my holiday and not stress out about it. But when I come back to the table, I'm always a bit like, ooh, and it takes a couple of goes to kind of really get back into it. This looks like a lot of you are brushing up a skill once more. It's like you're going back to it and saying, yeah, you know what, I need to pick this back up. For your love and relations, you've got the 10 of Wands. For those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, whatever conversation you have this week, it is likely that your partner, your significant other, may not necessarily be ready for the level of truth bomb that you kind of throw at their feet. And it is possible that your significant other could try to dominate the conversation this week, where they try to talk at you rather than to you. And if this is the case, look, you've got the Magician here and you've also got the Four of Pentacles. I feel sorry for them if they feel like they're going to be able to get you to budge on this. It's not happening. So really what they need to do is back up a few steps. If you're cross-watching for your Cancer, don't do it. You're going to be out here getting the wrong end of them pincers. You hear me? Okay, all right. The other way that this works, for those of you that are single and looking, the 10 of Wands, you might realize that the reason that you haven't been able to find anyone, and I hazard a guess because obviously we haven't seen the money and materials card yet, which will tell us about your home situation, but I feel like the reason you haven't been able to find a partner, if that's how you're feeling at the moment, is because there's some kind of big shift or change that is yet to happen that will enable or facilitate you meeting someone. So it's very likely that you might connect with somebody who maybe lives in a different place, and that might be because you yourself are moving or changing location. So all very, very possible stuff. Now, I want to talk to you about my tarot course. This is the last one of these that I will run this year because I've got some other really great stuff that I'm bringing at the latter part of this year that I'm really very excited about. If you've got kids, I know you're hearing this and you're probably panicking and thinking, yeah, but Raf, I can't, I've got children. We've got the holidays coming up. We start on the 5th of May. you will be done by July 21st, which means by the time you finish, you can enjoy summer, and on top of that, you can have your glass of wine at night with your friends in the garden, pulling cards, and doing all of that shebang. Enrollment opens on the 18th. And it closes on the 30th of this month. There are only 20 spaces. I keep the group deliberately small so that I can give you individual attention. You've got 12 weeks, 3 hours of class with yours truly. You get 5 bonus videos. You get so many PDFs that it's like just crazy. If you're a visual learner, if you like all of that bright colored stuff, this is absolutely for you. And on top of that, you also get all of my basically everything that I've got in here. I try to give you in the 12 weeks. I like to take you from foundation up to intermediate, where you will be able to read cards for somebody else. You get live client demo, all kinds of good stuff. So if you are ready to take your journey into the cards with me, you can do that on the link in the description box below. It'll be popping up on socials, but as I say, there are only 20 spaces and I won't be teaching this course again this year. For your money and materials, boom, look at that. You've got the Hermit card, right? Again, so a double hit of Hermit card energy, which means there's a lot of mercurial energy here, which means you are thinking a lot this week. There's a lot of very deep thought. And remember, the Hermit card is a card of study. The Hermit card is a card of withdrawal. The Hermit card is preparation for your intuition to speak. Now, for when it comes to your money, the Hermit card suggests that you're taking things back to the drawing board so that you can look at how you earn your money, what you're doing with your money. And for some of you, you might be starting to get clear on your budget. Like, where am I actually wasting money? Where is it that I'm not being sensible with my resources? And what am I going to do about it? When it comes to your physical health and vitality, this is your digestive system. I will say with this, if you, I'm not a doctor, can't give medical advice, not diagnosis, but if you've had any problems or issues, especially around skin complaints or brain fog, it's likely to be coming from your diet at this time. When it comes to your physical health, your home and environment, the Hermit card, so if you're partnered, maybe you're spending some time away from the partner, or they're spending some time away from you or from home. This could actually be because of work. It's not necessarily because, there's a breakup or whatever, but for some of you, it will be interesting to see how it plays out. And for those of you that are single, it really does. I feel like this week you're going to observe it and you'll look at it and you'll say, right, the reason that I'm single is because right now is not the time for me. All right. And actually the location maybe doesn't work for you either. So it'll be interesting to see how it shows up. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.